Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Time to open a beer. Like champagne. Man, that's my hand that hurts. Whoa. And here we go. It's a big fin du monde, the end of the world. And there you are. Still half of it. So everything's all right. No, it's not a wine barrel beer. It's a regular triple. I was looking if Paul the cat was here. It's a triple Belgian type ale made here in Quebec. So, okay, we're going to do this and this. This. Okay. And we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. We've been off for a week, so that means last time we've seen each other was a week and a half ago, Friday of July something. And hope that everybody is all right. Was a little late in announcing the live feed because I was outside. I just finished eating, so had some a nice cream of sweet potato and curry with some what was left of tomato focaccia with pesto, and some homemade fries with spicy sauce. So I'm full, and now I got to do a show. So nice to have everybody here. Welcome aboard. This is the live Shortwave show. We are, of course, live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. This is a show about radio. And you guys almost saw something that I don't know how well it would have gone. I almost took my clipper and with the number 5, almost did a number 5 everywhere in my head and shaved a head at number 5 with the clipper. So it's not done today. It might be done tomorrow or Friday. We'll see. It's either that or I go to a actual hair salon. The problem is the barbershop where I go, they're all 7 years plus. So they're not opening because they're scared of getting COVID, and at their age, well, it could be a problem. So they leave the barbershop is closed. So there's that, and or there's the other place where they talk all the time, and I'm very unique. When you cut my hair, I just want you to shut up and cut my hair. I don't want to have small talk. I'm not the kind of guy that likes small talk. Oh, well, how the weather today? Oh, yeah, COVID, That's not the kind of stuff that I like to talk much. So, when I go to a barbershop, it's like, just cut my hair. I'm not your friend. I'm just here to have my hair cut and bye. Okay? And that's what I like about that place, because it's like, except for a couple of little, tidbits here and there. It's like, it's just, you cut the hair, 15 minutes, it's done, you're gone. I like that. So I know I'm some kind of weirdo. But anyways, a friend of mine says, "Oh, I got this place. The girl, she cuts the hair, and she's super interesting to talk to." And the first thing is like, "Stop! I don't want to talk to her. I just wanted to cut my hair and shut up." And he says, "You're so weird." I'm not weird. I don't know why I should have a conversation with somebody that's not related in any way in my life except cutting my hair. I'm weird, yeah, but that's the way I am. So, anyways, I was looking at my clipper and I was like, number 5, and let's go. Let's just go for it. So we'll see. So if Friday I look very weird with very short hair, I tried it. And so anyways, we're here to talk about shortwave radio and not haircuts. So this is a show that we have every twice a week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0 hours UTC. Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern at 20 hours UTC. We talk about radio, we tune the bands, we answer questions. I got a few interesting questions today. One about the Carrington event. I think that's going to be nice to talk about. And because it's a two-part question, is a Carrington event, and could a Carrington event happen even if we are in these solar cycles that are very small? Plus, the same person wants to know if where we are heading in the solar cycle. So I think that's going to be interesting to talk about. And also, somebody was asking me to kind of, if I could go through quickly some of the notable spots on shortwave where, tuning the bands could be interesting. So anyways, we'll go with the flow and we'll talk about whatever comes to mind. Remember that there's a fantastic Facebook group. Well, first of all, there's a fantastic chat room with amazing people that are here and that just love, radio, and we share the same passion, and it's cool for that. And I think that's the important thing. And the other thing is there's a Facebook group, same name as we have here, which is Official SWL Channel. 1,100 people now, pretty much. That's a nice big group, and it's growing. It's growing at a good speed. And we don't allow any idiots, and we like to have people that just want to talk and share about one simple thing. Can we just talk about radio and respect everybody's opinion and just be happy? That's all. That's all we want on that group. Okay. So Official SWL Channel group, great place. For those that ask, I will not go into the details, and I will not name names. That's the first thing. Okay, and when I throw somebody out of the group, I will never mention who it was. Some of you have an idea, some of you know, but you know what? If I throw someone out of the group, it's because he really went. I'm pretty relaxed on the rules, and you really have to really stretch. So 2 things can make me remove you from the Facebook group. One is people are reporting your posts and saying, well, that's not appropriate. I warn you, and you still continue, and you're out. You come into the group and you start spamming the group with your own content from your own channel without asking permission, without, I don't want that. It's not a competition. I tell everybody that all the time. This is not a competition. I know where I stand with my shortwave group, and I do not want to be the only place people go to. The more shortwave groups there are out there, the better it is. It's cool. But I create the Facebook group, I create this channel. The least you can just be is kind of polite, and if you have something to share, honestly, I love to share what others are saying or doing with radio on YouTube and on any other group if there is something interesting. But you got to go through me. Don't spam. I don't spam people. I don't go on another YouTube channel and say, "Hey, best shortwave channel is here." I don't do that kind of thing. And I do want that respect back, meaning you don't do that also on my channel. Okay, let's be fair. You can ask. I'm a very cool person that will be happy to have you, share something, or, say, well, I've got a radio group and I'd like to share that. But please, can you just ask permission? It's simple. I mean, come on, okay. And last but not least, if you are not polite, and that's what happened with the one that I actually removed, if you are not capable, actually removed 2 this week. If you're not capable of being correct, we all have, let's face it, okay, there's 1,100 people in that group right now. 1,100 people that have different point of views, different politics, different religion or beliefs in religion, whatever. We don't want that in the group, because this is not the place for that type of talk. That's your personal stuff. And there are places on the internet, and tons of places on the internet, where you can debate of all of that. Here we talk about radio. That stuff does not belong in the group. And your personal opinion of whoever in the group, or for whatever reason, for whatever belief, is not welcome. Be it, women against men, against gay, lesbian, against religious beliefs, against, I don't effing care what you think is right or not. Your belief and your way of thinking, I don't give a F about it. Just stay with radio, because the only thing that's important is that. And I don't want to know the rest. And I don't care about it. That's pretty much where we are. So everybody respect everybody, and we'll be just an amazing group. And that's what's happening right now. Okay? It's kind of simple. It's just that from time to time, there's always somebody that has to, go out of the bounds. And, there are people there at the beginning of the group. There are a few people that were kicked out that are not bad people. But there are some people that they just don't understand that whatever content you put on the channel is not appropriate. There's a limit where you got to stop in respect. And like I said, we're about radio. What else is there? Radio, and more radio, and even more radio. So anyways, it's a great group, and I think we're working really well. The moderators are great. We're working well to try to keep it as the best group possible, that is the most interesting in radio, and that we just want to have fun with our wonderful hobby. I mean, it's needed to have such a place. I mean, we have this live show. We have all of this happening, and it's great. And I got tons of people watching. And I mean, I've created something here that obviously a lot of people love. Last week, I don't know how many messages I got from people that are not in the Facebook group saying, "Hey, man, you stopped doing live shows?" It's like, I don't see the live shows. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't stop. I just took a week off. People in the Facebook group knew, but most people outside that are not in the Facebook group, of course, I should have probably posted a video saying, "Hey, I'm taking a break this week." But it's needed to have some community here. I mean, I wish this would have existed, that some Gilles from 1982 would have been doing some show, and I would have been joining and being happy to be there and looking at everything radio and saying, "Oh man, that guy's so lucky to have all of those radios." And I would have loved to have this type of community back then, which their clubs existed and stuff like that, but it's not the same here. It's really live. People interact in real time together. It's just amazing. So it's just so cool. And for those that are asking, so yes, I was. So it was a Thursday night, not last week, 2 weeks ago. I was so I was coming home from visiting a few friends, and basically I came back home, and when I took one of the little streets, there was three guys that approached real fast. One pushed me to the ground, really, really, like it was like from. It probably took a tenth of a second for me to be standing up to having my face on the sidewalk. It was that violent. My face hit the sidewalk, and I was kind of in a fog for a couple of seconds. It was really intense. And I got up, and I heard one of the guys say, give me your phone and your wallet." So they wanted to have this phone, which is, by the way, I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's now, whoops, it's just the glass is broken at the bottom here, and that's because of the fall that I had. And that gave me a reason to, of course, get this new phone, which is the S20. And I mean, the phone still works. I didn't have to really change it. So I got up, and when I got up, the guy that pushed me to the ground was very close. So I had a really good shot, and I punched him, and I'm still suffering from my hand here, especially the knuckles. I have a hard time. I can't really, put a lot of force. It's better. It's much better than it was, but it's going to take a while for this to heal. I still have a scar on this little finger here for that. My scars on my face are pretty much gone. And I punched him really good. When I punched him, he actually wobbled and backed off. And actually had two other guys with him. I also backed off. And I heard one tell the others, "Let's go. This is going to be tough." And and I started yelling, and they just ran away. So I was lucky. They could have had a gun. They could have had a knife. Although in Montreal, this is not the type of culture which is that much. It's not like in the U.S. here. I mean, yes, there are people with guns, and yes, there are people with knives. Absolutely. But it's not like it's not Chicago, or it's not. It's very different here. And so they ran off. And if I have one positive outlook of that, is I was able to punch the guy and just I shouldn't say this, but man, it felt good. You pushed me to the ground, I hit my face, man, it felt so good. I really shouldn't say that, because I'm not a violent guy, and I do not like violence, but it kind of showed me that 51-year-old, but still there. I'm still capable. But I do not wish anything like that to happen to anybody, and I do not wish that happens again to me. But that's pretty much what happened. And so there was a lot of little things last week when I took the week off of the live shows. Many things happened. My nephew, Simon, had COVID-19. He was this close to dying. Finally, he's out of the hospital, which is really nice. He's like 39, 40 years old. So there was that. My sister told me that. And then there was I was still kind of, thinking, and I was still in pain of all this stuff. And I don't know, it gave me this incentive to just say, you know what? How about you relax this week a little bit and enjoy life a little more? because you're just like working hard and doing so many things. You're not taking any time for yourself, and I don't take a lot of time for myself. I work a lot with all this stuff in the YouTube. So it was it felt good actually to take a week off. Honestly, I think I needed that, and so anyways, I'm here, and we have a live show tonight. Hey, let's go to the chat room before I continue babbling about everything and nothing at the same time. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA, WA5107 SWL. Your MLA30 died. Oh, so sorry to hear that. Get another one. I mean, I've got 3 and they are all working great. So you probably, what did you power it with? Just out of curiosity. Because that's very important. The power needs to be consistent. Crossley Fiver, nice to have you here from El Paso. Nice to have you on board, Brian. KJ5TEL. Yingli CA1, nice to have you on board. VE3TYA in the house. From Ontario, Tom DXer, WPE2QED. Nice to have you here from Lower Hudson Valley, New York. Rob, nice to have you on board from Phoenix, Arizona. Mike, WDX50, nice to have you here from Arkansas. Shitty Pyro 90 from Courtenay, British Columbia, Canada. Graham Taplin, nice to have you here, Graham. Artist Crafter's Kitchen, nice to have you on board. Says after a challenging week, to say the least, from Central Massachusetts. Nice to have you. And I'm going to do cheers. William Helms, nice to have you here, and thank you very much. I'm happy to be back. WF7I Ombrew, nice to have you on board. And what else do we have? Stephen Wood, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, USA. Yota Doug's Tool Collecting Channel. You have Tool Collecting Channel. I want to see that. What all sorts of tools? I'm curious now. Nice to have you on board. Jean-Pierre Couture, bonjour et bienvenue. Moria 330, nice to have you here. Northern Dawn, good morning. Nice to have you here. Yota's Doug's Tool Collecting Channel says it's hotter than hell outside. We had that last week. It's still, it's not bad right now. It's 24. It's like 75 Fahrenheit, 76 Fahrenheit. Not too bad. Tomorrow's going to be like in the upper 80s. I'm going to have a few hot days now. It's summer. Jean-Pierre Couture says the end of the world. It is. Louis, nice to have you on board. So what else do we have? Try to let's go. We have Yingli CA says he's drinking Labatt 50. I never liked that beer, but my dad was a big Labatt 50 drinker. Yeah, it's the end of the world as we know it. William Moser, nice to have you on board. Max Headstrong, nice to have you on board from Michigan. Icadarius, nice to have you on board. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those aged wine barrel beers. They have very, very unique taste. Should check that out. Robert Split, nice to have you here from Richmond, Illinois. Frank Ireland, nice to have you here from Florida. XN80Xer, nice to have you here, Keegan, in Northwest Arkansas. Michelle's gonna start the boxing channel. Yep, I'm gonna start a new channel. How to fight a gang coming home from a few beers. Matt, nice to have you here. I'm DK2 from Colorado. Kadarius says body can handle a lot of spicy foods. Max Headstrong says shaved head and tattoos. I'm going to be a tough guy now. Simon Templar, great to see you also, my friend. Well, see you in the chat room at least. Kevin Janapalo, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Was itching to try a new radio, so I ordered an Eton Elite Field with Bluetooth, lunchbox size, hoping it will be nice on the deck outdoors. It's nice big radio, nice sounding radio, and it seems to be not too bad actually. I was eyeing it the other day. It was 120 Canadian dollars on Amazon. I should have my Eton Elite satellite or Eton Elite Executive, sorry, tomorrow. UPS. It's so funny. UPS actually called me to tell me that I owe them $31 for the for all the fees, because UPS is that company that screws everybody, and they actually called me because of COVID. The actual delivery guy cannot have me in any way interact with him for the payment of that $31. So they told me, you've got until Friday to pay $31 buy on the UPS website, or else we're going to return the package. So I had to go on the UPS website and pay the $31 to make sure that it's delivered. So I checked before the live show. It's supposed to be delivered tomorrow. So tomorrow I should have a nice Eton Elite Executive. It's going to be nice to try it out and do a review, that's for sure. Bob Mason, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Hey, Darius, you can let Paul the cat cut your hair. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Paul isn't coming here. He was outside. He meowed a little bit, and well, I wish he was here. Could say hi to everybody. Max says strong. I'm the same. Silence is golden. Yeah, absolutely. Archer's Alley Crafter's Kitchen says, I'm the same way when having my haircut. Just cut it and I'll give you a good tip. And that's pretty much what I do. It's like, okay, how much? 20? Okay, here's 25. Thank you very much. You didn't talk. It lasted 17 and a half minutes. Woohoo, I'm out of here and my hair is cut. Oh, God. What else do we have? Shady Paro 90 says was able to get the U.S. Coast Guard weather on 4426 yesterday. Woohoo! That's good. That's good. John Root, nice to have you here from California. Nick Mayakovsky, good evening. Nice to have you on board. Sardines in extra virgin olive oil with hot jalapeno peppers. And apple juice. That's what Keegan had. Pretty cool. Nicholas, nice to have you here, Nick. K9XN, West Lafayette, Indiana. Cool. Kevin J says, buzzed my hair, but have a long beard. I like beards for some reason. Mine doesn't grow, I got like a eternal teenage beard that just doesn't grow right. But anyways, I let it grow like that anyways. I like it like that. It's scruffy. It's okay. Yingli CA says, just put up an Alpha Delta DXCC antenna. Awesome stuff. Cool. Max Strong. Jill is very fair. Just don't try and steal his wallet and cell phone. Dire consequences could result. Oh, man, William Helms, I used to hand me the stereo grip. I didn't like it. It looking like was a huge ad for garage sale. Yeah, sometimes, there are things. It's just respect, The Five Youngs. Nice to have you here. Where are you located, my friend? It's just having respect. That's all. Eyebrawler, nice to have you here from Arkansas. We have... What do we have? I had to give my my fist was I was unable to do anything the next day, and it hurt like crazy. So Nick Mayakovsky. Yeah, yeah, that would be the case. And 1982 would have been a slideshow on Kodachrome. You know those little slides, the little square slides. My dad had that machine where with the big roll where you put the slides in, and you have to press that button. So click next picture, click next picture, click next picture. I remember when my dad, that was actually, I have to say, that was the fun part of like a Saturday evening when my dad decided, let's take out the slides and put the machine. We had the screen and everything. And when my dad decided, let's watch that tonight, it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's better than watching TV. There's something, I don't know. I've seen the slides a million times, but I don't know. We're in the dark. There's these slides playing. My dad rambling about whatever that was on, Teresa doing whatever. Oh, that was at the uncle's place in 1958. And there was a big lake and the neighbor drowned, and it's like, okay, all the stories, with everything. It's like, okay. Or sometimes there would be a slide. It was like, oh, you don't remember, but you were 1 year old and you're actually on that ride or whatever. And it was like, oh man, okay. God. But I don't know. There was something fun about, it happened like once a year. But when that happened, it was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Okay. We're going to, just like lie down on the couch and watch the slides and hear dad talking every time about, well, that's the uncle that's like really an idiot and blah, 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 blah. It was like, okay. Oh, that's the idiot uncle. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I remember. 0x4D. Nice to have you on board, my friend. So, oh yeah, it could have gone really bad. Absolutely, but it's something you don't realize. Honestly, when it all happened, I was telling the next day, one of my friends, was like, "Whoa, what happened?" and blah blah blah. And it's like, and he tells me, "Were you scared?" I didn't have time to be scared. My brain went into another mode, which was to kind of defend myself. And so being scared is not what I was. Part of me was kind of in a fog because of hitting the ground. And part of me was like, well, that bastard's going to get it. I was able to do it because I could have, it could have been positioned in a way that I could have done nothing. But by chance, he was leaning over just perfectly for me to hit him. And I was not even hurting. I mean, when my face, because my face hit the sidewalk, like real bad. And I didn't feel a thing except I was in a fog. My brain was kind of in a fog. And I started feeling something when I got home because my face was, you guys, I should have taken, I didn't, because you don't think about anything. I should have taken a selfie. I looked like a guy coming out of a horror movie that just like, I don't know. I just had a rant with Jason on Friday the 13th or something. My face was covered in blood. My nose was bleeding crazy. My hands were red with blood because I touched my face. And I was kind of half those bastards and half what had just happened while I was walking home the rest of the way. And I was very close to home, actually. I was just 5 corner streets from here. And when I got home, for some reason, when I looked at myself in the mirror with the face full of blood and my hands red of blood and my hands started hurting My finger started hurting. My knee, I have a skin knee, started hurting. It's as if that's when my brain locked out of what happened and locked into the real life and said, "Hey, man, it hurts everywhere now." So it was just, I was just not, my brain just went away for a while and came back. Hey, Fastlaw, nice to have you here from Montreal. But, it's, I didn't think. My thinking wasn't there anymore. The only thing that happened is my defend myself, and whatever I can do, I'll do. And that's it. Papa Krampus, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? It might not change anything, but you know what I told one of my friends that I was asking about how I was? I said, you know what? If the fact that I hit him back makes him think twice about doing anything like that again, at least, I don't know. But, Rick, nice to have you here from Milwaukee. Rick Satter, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Bobby Burgess, direct biasing from the RSP1A. I never do that because I noticed the RSP1A's bias T is noisy compared to using a power adapter with the bias T that came with the antenna. Plus the fact that the RSP1A's bias T is just to the lower limit of voltage for the antenna. It's kind of, I don't know. Because I tried it with the RSP DX personally. And after comparing, I noticed that the bias T with a power adapter was less noisy than the RSP DX actually was on my antenna. John Root, KJ6NXX in California. Nice to have you here. Radioactive, nice to have you here. W7WXV in Prineville, Oregon. Tim Gaynor, nice to have you here from Unique Radio. Yeah, nice to have you here, my friend, from Australia. Pretty cool. New South Wales, Australia. Unique Radio. Can do some promotion here. Give it a frequency and whatever you want to promote, please do. I'll be happy. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you on board. I am enjoying the beer, Tim. Marvin Mutz, nice to have you here from the Japan Islands. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Try to reach some point in there. Okay, what internet beer. What radio is that behind the globe? You mean beside that one? That's the S450 DLX. S450 DLX field radio. But it doesn't turn on anymore. I removed the battery. I did everything. I reset. It just doesn't turn on. It does this thump when I press the power button, and it turned on once, and it wasn't receiving anything. It's kind of crapped out. That's the worst part. It crapped out while you just not use it. So you don't use a radio, and when you want to use it 6 months later, it just craps out. It's like, what? I didn't do nothing. Oh, man. Where's my mask? Yeah, I got it here. Here's my mask. I always got it with me because it's mandatory starting this Saturday. So this is my mask. But I don't think the COVID is virtual. Uh, BIGR bigger 7769. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you on board. What do you think about SDR console with the RSP1A? I've been using SDR Uno, but I thought I would give it a try. I'm impressed. I'm pretty impressed so far. Like I always say, software and on SDR is very personal. It's very personal. We all like different software. What I like about SDR console is the audio processing seems to be more interesting, and the frequency response and everything. For the rest, it's like every software you got to get used to. I don't hate SDR console, honestly. I've used it quite a few times. I use it with the RTL SDR V3 a lot. I still like SDR Uno better, but for a while I was on HD SDR, which I don't like anymore really much. Now that I've used SDR Console V3, learned how to use it a little more, and learn how to play with it. SDR Uno, I mean, it's extremely personal. I think whatever software you use is fine. The last thing I want to say is, oh, use that. The last thing I want to say is, oh, you should use SDR Uno absolutely with. No, I'm not there, because I know how personal software is on a computer. We all like a specific thing, and that's the way it is. And I am not going to push one software more than another. Whatever you love and whatever you like is fine and okay. And that's pretty much more what I would say with software. You like SDR console? Cool. I like SDR Uno with, I right now what I do is mostly SDR Uno with the RSPDX because I like it. But that's me. And I use SDR console with the RTL SDR V3, which is ouch, right here. So, but it's nice. These software are great, and SDR console is pretty good, honestly, in what it does also. And like every software, and there's also that learning curve. We don't have the same way of viewing and seeing things. So the learning curve is different for everybody on every software. And I think whatever we use, it's a question of, just investing enough time to use it to understand the software and one of my projects when I have enough time to do something, because I'm trying to, I want to do a lot of videos and stuff, and I know that I'm the kind of guy that works on my stuff on YouTube, but my stuff is like all over the place. I don't have a definite pattern of this is how, I should sit down and take a few hours, like, okay, let's take the ideas and the channels and do the stuff. And I'm not like that. I'm like, I sit down and it's okay, let's do something. Which also means that I'm all over the place all the time, which means I will try to do a lot of stuff, but it's difficult to, I spend a whole day doing YouTube videos and thinking about ideas. And so, because honestly, I want to do SDR console videos and do a playlist. I want to continue the SDR Uno videos. I just did a couple, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, this helped me so much," and I did too, something like that. I need to do more and explain all the stuff also, for sure. But whatever we use, I think it's software is very personal. Honestly, it's very personal. There's software that is, we use that software because everybody's using it. You don't have to like it. You might even hate it. But because everybody's there, you're there. Facebook is an example. Facebook group. I don't know how many people told me, I hate Facebook, but because of your group, I'm here. Yeah, I know. I know. You don't have to like it, but it's part. I think everybody has its own little thing. And, but I have nothing against SDR console, honestly. Page Master, nice to have you here. KC5VOY, WA5136WL in Moore, Oklahoma. Love the photo of Mr. Paul on the left side of your globe. I unfortunately my head is I should put it on I should put it here because because Paul is never there. Because Paul is never there, I decided that I should have a picture of him all the time in the background, so that even though he's not here, at least you guys see him in some way. So it's Mr. Paul is here. It's So, anyways, I'll find a better place. It should be like here or maybe here. I'm gonna find a place to so you guys can see Paul all the time. Jim, nice to have you here from Rhode Island. Yeah, everything is pretty good. Rob is 110 Fahrenheit in Phoenix, Arizona. Too hot for me. That's way too hot for me. The Raccoon Whisperer up there in Canada. I did. Mark Cancellara. Nice to have you on board. I have saved 4 web SDRs on my favorites in Google Chrome, and now I have to use the use of 4 really good radios in Norway, the USA, and China and Switzerland. Oh, cool. Cool. Over time when I use the Kiwi SDRs, I have my favorites also that I kind of try to use all the time. And that's actually a good idea. When you have a favorite SDR, put it in your favorites or your bookmarks so that you can go and refer to them. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you on board from the UK. Good morning. VT Radio, nice to have you on board from Vermont. And my nephew is recovering. Your Kato K1103 arrived a few days ago. It's the older PLL version, but... Oh, really? Huh. Okay. Did you try different... different things? What does it do? Nothing at all? Or what is it? Well, the new Texan radios, TECSUN, not to mix with Texan from Texas, are still not in production, actually. So, Mad Radio XR, they wanted to steal my phone and my wallet. But they didn't get the phone and the wallet. They got my fist. One got my fist in the face, which still hurts. But things are okay. Mark says, I don't have a budget for a strong radio or antenna, but I can now enjoy shortwave radio with all these great sources. Thanks to your YouTube videos and help. That's something that I don't talk about a lot, honestly. And by the way, I am 23 minutes behind, okay? So what I'm talking about now happened 23 minutes ago for you guys. So if you're wondering why, okay? One of the things we should never forget is that if you don't have a shortwave radio or don't have money for one or don't know what to buy or you're in there are some people that are in a situation where it's so noisy that it just doesn't work and they don't get anything. Kiwi SDRs online are really nice for that. They still give you the capability of listening to shortwave through an online radio. It's not your radio, it's not at home with an antenna and stuff, but still, it's better than nothing. Dan V, nice to have you here from Ohio, and 8WJZ. What else do we have? Gary Blackerby, nice to have you on board. Well, I can't wait to get the Ethan Elite Executive. I think it's going to be fun. So I should have it tomorrow. Shady Pyro 90, I'm debating on if I should get the TR618 or at last the PL606 on Amazon. Well, if you want performance, I think the PL606 will be better. That said, you know what? I used my TR618 tonight. I listened. So I went outside to take a little bit of fresh air, and I actually clipped my sloper to the TR618. And I got Radio Romania on 13650 at 2030. I listened to the 1 hour of 80s music from WRMI on 9455. And I listened to Radio Exterior de España in English and French at 2230 UT on 9690 with really good signal. So it kind of works well. But if MP3 playback is not important, and remember that the TR618 has a pretty crappy FM reception, the Texan PL606 might be better. Maria 330 was trying to get my wife to okay me buying the Ethan Elite Executive, but no dice on that. You know that if you have to ask your wife to buy something, it might not work. John Rube says, I'm going to get my ham and receiving shack done finally in late September or early October. Cool. Keegan says, with the help of my dad, W9GEF, I ordered my Eton Elite Executive Radio on June 26th. He picked it up and gave it to me on July 7th. Cool. Trustin P, nice to have you here, Trustin, from Newfoundland. Just did an ETM scan, got 23 hits. Very good for my area. Cool. What else do we have? Jason Francis, nice to have you here from Ottawa. Arthur's Autocrafter's Kitchen. Stumbled upon a Facebook group the other day that had a full schematic of the MLA30. It didn't really look like anything earth-shatteringly no. The MLA30's amplifier is based on an open source low noise amplifier. It's not anything revolutionary. It really is based pretty much on a open source LNA that already exists. It's not anything, it's because the question here, and that's also something that comes back a lot in all of the stuff that I do, with people saying, well, you should build that, you should. Remember one thing, a lot of the people that are here are not knowledgeable or have not done electronics or have not done so what happens is that when somebody says, well, you should build that, most people will not. They don't have the knowledge and the capacity to do it. So that's where, yes, the MLA30 is based on a open source low noise amplifier that the schematic is available online. And if you're good with electronics, you can go and get those parts and do it yourself and make your own MLA30 at home. But the thing is, for most people and for the price that it is, just buy it and get it shipped and it's done, And that's mostly what happens. But there's nothing groundbreaking in the MLA30, honestly. Nothing. It's not an exceptional design. It's not. It's just they took something that they knew existed out there, and they did that thing, and they sell it at a price point where people like us are like, oh yeah, $40, man, come on, I'm gonna have three of them. And that's it, and it for what it is, it does the job really well. It does the job really well for what it is. Bob Mason, the D808, you're gonna have, if you can live with the little chuffing of the tuning, it's an amazing radio. Mongoose, nice to have you on board from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Hecadarius, I heard of Billy Beer. Yeah, Billy Beer, I've heard that. I did hear that. Jason Francis, we take so many pictures these days that each one has less meaning than it used to. Yep. Looking sharp, your hair a little fluffy. But Marvin Mott's information overflow is another reason why shortwave and ham radio is better quality information when low bandwidth. Yeah, Billy Beer tells me something. John Rose has some grape vodka. Cool. Marvin Moss wants to hear the story about the bunny rabbit hanging on the shelf. Oh, that's a sad story. So the bunny rabbit here is... so my sister, one of my sisters died of cancer in 2011, Joanne. She actually was a ham radio operator. And part of the reason why I'm here also, and I do this, is that so she was Victor Echo 2 Delta Papa Oscar in the 80s and part of the 90s when she let her license expire. So if anybody out there has a call book from the 80s or early 90s, if you look at Victor Echo 2 Delta Papa Oscar, you will see a listing for Joanne Letourneau, same last name as I am. It's my sister. And she lived in Belleuil for the most part, and then she lived in Saint-Jean-Baptiste on the South Shore. So the story behind this is that in 2008 she was diagnosed with late 2008 she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so they operated, they removed everything, and everything looked fine. And in 2010 she woke up swollen and she was coughing. So she went to the doctor, and the cancer was everywhere. It was spread over, and nothing worked. There was nothing they could do. So so me and my sister, we were really close, and we were planning actually a trip to Egypt when all of this happened. We were very close to getting there. And the year before she got her diagnosis of breast cancer, it was Easter, and she knew I liked chocolate. And where she lived, there was a really good place for chocolate. And she had a little box, and she saw this bunny. And she thought that the bunny was so cute that, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna put the bunny with the chocolate." And I opened the box and I saw the bunny. And I was like, "Oh, the bunny's so cute." And she said, "Well, I wasn't sure because you're a guy, but I'm happy that you said that it was, and yeah, I thought the bunny was cute, and so this is kind of a special souvenir and special meaning for me of my sister, and I hope she, I don't know, she's it was a wonderful person, and so the bunny is for that. And, he will always have a little space, a little place for me. So that's the story of the bunny. What else do we have? Bob Mason, where's Paul the cat? Somewhere, I don't know. He's been going out a lot. He's got a friend in next the neighbor's yard. There's a black and white cat, and they seem to be kind of friendly. So seems to be hanging out a lot. Unfortunately, I'd like Paul to be here, but he's not. Gordon Lyle, nice to have you here. Gordon from Southern Illinois, WA9211SWL. Rufus Newt from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Paul to use as an attack kitty. He's not going to attack. He's just going to do meow, and he's going to say, like, pet me. Rob says you should walk around with a machete in the back. Oh, man. No. I don't think so. Oh, man. Okay, let's try to have things go a little faster here. A little faster. Okay, where am I? What else do we have? Bob Mason drinking some of his neighbor's homemade wine. Oh man, that reminds me. You know what, Bob? When I was a young adult, and where I lived with my parents, and the owners of the house were Italian, but they were like 90-year-old. And when in the wintertime, I would, remove the snow in the entrance, or break the glass when it was break the ice when it was like icy and stuff like that. And to thank me, every time I would do that, so when I was a teenager, they would give me money. So I would actually, plow the snow and remove the snow and everything, and they would be super happy. And they would, in the teenage years, they would give me like $10. But when I got a young adult, they wouldn't give me money anymore. They would give me a bottle of Italian wine that they actually made themselves with the grapes that were growing in the backyard. And it was beautiful. The backyard was like a big, vine with tons and tons of raisins everywhere. It was like really, really kind of nice. And so they would make every year. They would make some wine out of with the raisins. And so when I was a young adult, but boy, I don't know what's the percentage of alcohol in the wine that they make from that. But I remember every time I would drink a couple of glasses, I was like, completely gone. I was like, man, this is some wine. And it was really strong tasting too. What else do we have? Does yours still work, Keegan? Your Grundig S450 DLX? Mine just like stopped working, and that's it. Crittenden Total 4, KJ7NUX. Nice to have you here from Oregon, USA. Pretty cool. Jean-Pierre Couture, cool mask. Fleur de Lis, yes, it's the Quebec flag, actually, that I have on my mask. And Radio DXer, July 24th, masks compulsory here in the UK for shops. Here it's July 18th, this coming Saturday. If you are going to shops or going inside, you have to wear one. And I don't understand it's like a big battle of people that don't want to wear it. And, oh, man. VE5UO, nice to have you on board. Yes, SDR is polished. We can say that. Compared to SDR console, which looks more... SDR console looks more like in Windows 95 software. It's very blocky, choppy. Where SDR Uno looks more modern. Take care, John Root. Nick likes SDR Sharp. SDR Sharp is good for the plugins because it has a lot of plugins. A lot of plugins. Jean-Pierre Couture is okay with SDR Uno. Tim Gaynor, what's Kiwi like at home? I like the external sites layout. I like. I mean, the layout is fine. It's it's not the best layout I've seen though. It could. I think it could be better, but I don't know. Current Lyle should make all the same shortwave radio face masks, then wear them out. Nobody would know what. Yeah, secret society, shortwave radio. I should actually have production of shortwave related masks. I know all of you would buy one. Well, you know what, V5UO, in version 2.0, there should be a Linux version of SDR Uno. So you'll be looking forward to that with version 2.0, apparently. I think that's a good idea. The biggest problem right now, and I see it a lot, and it's what I find a little sad with all the platforms. Windows has the big share of everything, which is normal because it's the dominant operating system on PCs. But I get so many people saying, "Yeah, what do I run on Mac or what do I run on Linux?" And that's where you're like, well, yeah, you're kind of limited. There's not a lot of stuff outside of Windows. So I think that's going to be nice to have SDR Uno running on other platforms like Linux and Mac. And I think that's a pretty good idea. Matt, MDK2, interesting how that does. I never got the hang of SDR console. I like SDR, HD SDR better, especially for recording. There's so many options there, but SDR know the best. What else do we have? Yeah, the rewind option on YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. You can go back and listen to stuff. That's for sure. Gordon Lyle says SDR Uno 1.4 going to be very nice. Loving it so far. Cool. What else do we have? What else do we have? Bob Mason says some curves are a lot more fun to learn. Absolutely. There's a lot of different curves out there. Bobby Burgess says, I hit that curve when it came to cleaning and installing Windows 10. W5BL, nice to have you here. I think as radios get more advanced, my interest goes backwards. I could get a fancy SDR, but I like simplicity. Got an ICOM 718 on the way. No distractions, just a radio. As much as I really enjoy using an SDR, honestly, I really still enjoy tuning a big radio with the knobs and everything. And actually, you know what? When Fastload arrived in the chat room, yesterday I used the Toshiba FPR11 little analog portable, and my idea for tomorrow, Thursday, where I'm going to try to take it a little bit easy, is to bring out the Grundig satellite transistor 6001 from 1969 and tune around with that good old radio that's 50 years old. It's crazy. 51 years old, man. That radio is as old as I am. I should have that radio in my coffin with me. The radio is going to be the same age as I am all the time. So if they dig me out someday, they'll find a grounding satellite transistor 6001, whatever age and whatever it looks like after being buried with me for like 100 years. William Moser says, I know it's not shortwave, but I've been looking for a good AM FM weather radio and getting the Sanjian PR D9W. Really good radio for anyone looking for AM FM weather. I ordered something because of being just curious and fancy. I was looking at, I don't know where I saw it, but somebody was mentioning a little portable AM FM radio. And let me just check my eBay here. I ordered one. It's an AM FM weather band portable. And it's the Reticus PR15. Reticus PR15. Very simple. No shortwave or anything. It's an AM FM radio with weather band. So it has the 7 NOAA weather channels and AM FM, and it's a little portable. And it cost $11.82 US. That's it. And $2 shipping. So I noticed today that it was actually already here in Canada after what? After ordering it. It's like not even a week, and it's already here. So I don't know. I saw it for $11, and I thought, click buy. Let's buy this. So I don't know. It's I'll talk about it anyways. I'll review it. I thought it was kind of cute. A little portable radio it looks like a portable radio from the past, from the 80s. Rufus Newt multitasking tonight. NASCAR All-Star Race on tablet. And I'm on the computer, so I'm actually on the top. I'm on the computer, not on the tablet. Roberto Rojas, ¿cómo está mi amigo? From Argentina. Nice to have you here. Matt is also multitasking. Michelle on Chromebook and the local radio club remote meeting on a gaming laptop. What else do we have? Mr. Paul is always with us in spirit, says Rob. Absolutely. Absolutely. Michael Satterfield, nice to have you on board from South Carolina. Paul the cat is the only troll allowed on the live stream. Man. Kamaxi 1976, nice to have you here, my friend. Oh, new old stock. Okay. VT Radio. So works well. Did you play with it, VT Radio, a little bit? What do you think? There's something unique about that fake analog needle that is LCD. But how do you like it? AA1 SU in Essex Junction, Vermont. Madrid DXer, whoever tried to mug you must have been very desperate, as you are a big guy. Glad that person got a fist to the face. Well, when I heard the other guy tell him, I think it's not going to be easy. I think they understood, it's not a good idea to hit on that one. I've never been attacked before. And Montreal is still, in my head, a very safe city. But you know what? I was, about 30-some years old, maybe 32, 33. And I'm not the biggest guy and the toughest guy in town, but and it was maybe I was coming home from a bar, and it was like maybe 2, 3 a.m. And there was 2 guys on the sidewalk coming. And as we got closer, one guy looked at the other and said, "Do we still do we steal his wallet?" And I did. I heard it really clearly. So we steal his wallet, and the other guy said, "No, he's too big a guy. And we're not gonna risk it. He's too big." He just said he's too big. And it's like, oh, okay. And for the time, I was like, well, what happened? And I was kind of drunk. But a few days later, I was like, okay, they were thinking of like stealing my wallet or something. But the other guy said, nah, he's too big. Let's not try it. What else do we have? English CA says, if you're in a noisy area for shortwave radio, then plan a camping trip and bring the radio with you in your camping trip and enjoy. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely one of the great. I miss my teenage and early adult years going out north where my dad had his shack in La Conception, Quebec. Not only did I have a telescope and it was kind of fun and really, really nice, it's also because it was a very, it was such a quiet place to listen to shortwave. It was the place. And I mean, there's always something special about being out in nature. But being out in nature, quiet environment, your favorite radio. I mean, I still remember it was so fun because when I went there for a while with a friend of mine. I mean, that guy was hooked to that place. And I was hooked to that place too. And he had a car, so it was the easy way. And so he was always like, oh, this weekend, if you want to go there for the weekend, cool. And I remember because I was like, oh, we're going to go there. So every Friday night he would call me up and say, so what are we going to do? So I was, hey, we're going there. We're going out north. And that lasted like almost a year, every single weekend. I was looking forward to it. It was like, oh, so cool. And he had some friends not far away from there. And he was kind of, he was a really like, the kind of guy that goes to the gym and he's really fit, and he would like go jogging. So he would go jogging. And one of the things he would always tell me is like, I'm going to go jogging. I might be back only tomorrow, because he would go and jog up to his friends that were like 25 kilometers away. And so he would like leave in late afternoon, jog until his friends, stay there, sleep there, and come back in the next day jogging. So I'd say one weekend out of two, I was alone. The other weekend we would drink our asses off and listen to music. But the weekend that he would do that, he would go off, I would be alone. He had a really big boombox. I think it was a Sony boombox from like mid 80s. A really nice big boombox, and it was really cool. We would run off his boombox with a car battery. So we had a car battery that we would charge from time to time, and it would run the boombox for like ages before we had to do anything and charge again. And I think it was one of the, if I remember well, it was like one of the old car batteries that he had, and which was not good enough for the car, but was still good enough to power a boombox. And I'd have fun because it was a decent shortwave performer. And, back in the 80s, a lot of boomboxes had shortwave. And I remember I would listen to like the DX party line on Saturday night alone there with, the campfire. And, I would have like the campfire, the marshmallows and the beer and everything. And I would just like, be outside and just enjoy nature and a good summer evening. And it went on for a year. So we were like in the fall and the spring. Sometimes it was cold. I would go in the shack and I would listen in the shack when it was cold. And I would listen to shortwave broadcasts. And it's funny because he had no idea what shortwave was all about. And I would tell him, oh, last night. So it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I left you alone last night. I hope because he thought that I would like be, bored to hell or something. And it's like, no, you have no idea. I have so many things. I got my shortwave hobby. I'm not, alone in a shack in the middle of nowhere. I am not bored. I can tell you that. I got a lot of things to do, but I would tune the shortwave bands on his radio, and I mean, it was a lot of fun, and that radio was sensitive, but he had no idea what that was. And I would tell him, it's like, oh, I listened to Keto Ecuador last night. It's like, what? Yeah, on the radio. My radio? Yeah, your boombox. It's got shortwave. What's that? Well, that SW thing? You can receive broadcasts from over the world. Oh, that's nice. And then we would move on to another conversation. It was like, what the hell is he talking about? But I had a lot of fun with that. And it's a really, really good memories. I can tell you that. Really crazy. Okay, let's try to catch up a little bit more. Lots of YouTube, Netflix, and Amazon. You guys have an expensive internet because you watch my stuff. Others Autocrafters says, I love that the MLA 30 is open source and we get to reap in the rewards. But the price, you're spot on. Buy it and forget it. The darn thing just works. Yep. Hey, Bill. Yeah, last week I took a week off. Took a little week off, Bill. But I'm back. Nick says, I got sick of the price that kept going up and up, always having to go into the cable office. Yeah, it's honestly, cable and internet in North America is overly priced. It's crazy. Hey, by the way, as you guys are talking about antennas, I found one of my amplified antennas while searching for stuff, and I want to put it up on this screen and scan over-the-air TV to see what it can actually get. And when Sportic E happens, I want to see if I can get something. I've seen so many people actually DX HD TV with Sportic E. I'm kind of curious. KX2U Radio. Nice to have you on board. I've never had or used, but I've heard so many good things of the IC7300. It seems to be, for the price, probably what is the best ICOM transceiver out there. I can tell you that. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down. Nick hasn't been around to listen to Mighty KBC. Oh, they've been coming in really well. 99.25. That's weird. If you guys have tuned, when it jumps from 99.25 to 9900 back to 99.25, is what the hell's happening? The computer's wrong, or somebody's not sure of the frequency? It's crazy. You're really crazy. Okay. Gary Blackerby says, my sympathies to you, sir. Lost my daughter to breast cancer last December. Oh, my sympathies too, man. It's really hard. It's a hard thing when that happens. Hey, CJ, I'm not a ham, but I'm a darn good shortwave listener. Cheers. Levi Nathan, nice to have you here from Israel. Shalom. Nick. Bad thunderstorm in this area. 8 thunderstorms. 8 thunderstorms. Shitty Pyro 90, 7375, Radio Romania International French, coming in clear on Halifax receiver. It's my usual listen. If I go to 7375, it's probably coming in pretty well. Yep. That is so weird. What did I click here? Oh. Let's click here and let's do it here. So 7375 is always a good one. That's my regular listen usually. That is my French language listening. Hey, Hubert Major, salut. Let's see you back on track, and all watchers and short listeners. Toujours un plaisir de t'avoir parmi nous. Nicodarius, does Paul the cat bring you gifts from outside? My dad's cat brings grasshoppers, snakes, birds, and frogs. One time he brought a woodpecker, a really beautiful woodpecker too. It was like, I wasn't sure of saying, "Oh, that's so cute," or just being mad because it was a really nice woodpecker. One time, but Paul isn't the kind of cat that goes around too much and kills birds or stuff. And you know what? I'm happy because you know that your feline, our cats are one of the biggest killers of birds in North America. They kill something like 100 million birds a year, and they're like really fierce killers. So I'm happy with Paul just running around and trying to get flies, and that's it. Radioactive. Local police changing frequencies from VHF to UHF and doing P25 phase 1 unencrypted. Ordered my RSPDX will use DSD plus to decode signals. At least it's unencrypted, and that's nice. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and it could have been encrypted. Here, when the Montreal police changed, it's P25, but it's encrypted. We can't do anything about it. At least, when they change to a digital format, but they're not encrypted, at least it still lets you listen to it, Archer's other crafter. No mast large enough for my other crafter's board anchors. Yingli CA, my Alpha Delta DXCC even received my frequency as well, too, using the Yaesu FRG 7700 and my transmitting rig icon, my C73 730 or 7300, I don't know, which needs a good electrical cleaning inside. So cool. Bobby Burgess, GQRX and Cubic SDR, a great starting point if you're on Linux. Take care, Trustin P. A copy of my blue stick figure shirt of me and Paul would be cool in the mask. Oh, that's true. Hey, Chrissy Freitas, how are you, my friend? I'm getting the same radio that I've been using tomorrow, thanks to a generous donator, Scott Cranston, that is sending me, and it should be here tomorrow. The Eton Elite Executive, pretty cool. Nice to have you here, Chrissy, from Nashville, Tennessee, USA. I feel like I'm listening to WWCR. There's somebody yesterday on the group. It was so fun because I was doing stuff, and when you're busy and you want to listen to shortwave, you don't have time to tune. And it was like 10 p.m. I tuned Radio New Zealand. The signal was so. So I tuned WTWW 5085, which always have music. And I thought, okay, let's do it. I went to WTWW.us, and I actually went and asked for my favorite songs. And somebody in the group said, oh, look at that. Official Shortwave channel is asking for his favorite songs on WTWW. RJDA Dakota, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Tim Gaynor, what sort of radios do you have in antennas? I have a lot of radios. So I've got the RSPDX here with the SDR Uno. I also have an Icom ICRD 500. I've got a lot of portable radios, XH Data D808, a RadioWow R108, Grundig G5. I've got tons of radios. I can't even mention them all. Several Texan PL 680. Texan PL 600, 380, 310, CountyCom GP5, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. Antennas, I've got a 75, 80 feet ish sloper in the backyard. But my main antennas that are better are the W6 LVP magnetic loop and the MLA 30 loop antenna also. Yingli CA, there's nothing like falling asleep with a shortwave radio tuned to an 80-meter frequency. Hey, Prasad, nice to have you here from India. Hope you are well, my friend. Nick says 10 meters open. Too bad there's thunderstorms. Oh, man. Worst time ever. Charles Emerson, nice to have you here. Ali Crafter's Shortwave 500. Not used in 40 years. Worth fixing up. If it's not too badly damaged and can be fixed for a decent price, yeah, it could. Ali Crafters are really, really nice receivers. Tim Gaynor has a few national Panasonic RF4800s and RF4900s. These are really nice. And an original satellite 2000 from 1974. Oh, man, these are really beautiful radios. Rufus is checking out NeoWise. Yeah, here we had clouds every darn night. I want to have a picture of that thing. Tim Gaynor also got the new XH Data D808 receiver. Quite impressed with it. As per cost, per performance, absolutely. That radio is still, right now, the number one receiver. If anybody tells me I want one radio, get the XH Data D808. Plus, I mean, all of the filters, you've got so many settings in there. It's just great. Just great. BT Radio, yes, I've been playing with the KM103. The display is cool. I only have to order new rechargeable batteries, where it's great. I like the auto scan tuning and bought it because of my reviews. I have, by the way, guys, I have repurchased because they are really good. If anybody's looking for good NIMH AA rechargeables, and the XH Data is not in there, but if you're looking for good AA rechargeables, the K1103 or DE1103, use that. The Amazon Basics batteries are amazing. So I had purchased 16 about 2 years ago. They're still going on strong and really great and really good, and they keep their charge and they work fantastic. I have reordered 16 others that I received last week. They changed color. 2 years ago they were black. Now they are kind of gray, white, kind of white gray. But they are amazing batteries. If you don't know where to buy your rechargeables, the Amazon Basics rechargeables, NIMH, nickel metal hydride, 2400 milliamp hour. Fantastic batteries. I've been really happy with them. What else do we have? Nick has 9420 Greece. Always a good signal from Greece. I am happy about one thing with Greece is that even though they had that really bad economic crisis and government didn't have money, they continued shortwave. And that's an example because you know what? How many countries slash shortwave when they could have just continued using it? You know, I don't know. William Moser, I'm guessing your reviews of the Hamrongda radio was a fail. I did not think it was any good either. The Hangrongda HRD 737 is a crappy darn radio. Credential 4K J7NUX, freaking love casting gel to the 55-inch TV. I'm not sure I want to see my face on the 55-inch TV, but if you like it. It's pretty cool. I'm waiting for the fall because I'm painting and changing everything, but I'm going to have a new 65 or 70-inch TV in my living room. And the 50-inch in my living room is going to be here. So got 32 inches here. Where the pirate flag is, there's going to be a 50-inch also. Well, stay safe, Gordon Lyle. Unplug the antennas, thunderstorms and all. Larry Cordy, nice to have you here from New York. What else do we have? Tim Gainer says remembers Greece using 9935 quite a few years ago as well as 9420. Yes, I remember they had both. I do remember that. I remember we could actually tune one or the other to compare. It's been a while since 9935 has not been in use. RJ Dakota says used to have a Toshiba boombox with extra shortwave bands. Used to have a good time with WRNO. Yeah, when it was the rock of the world. I remember WRNO, the rock of the world. Shelly, nice to have you on board from Pennsylvania. Charles Emerson asks, does anyone know where to buy capacitors? The local shop I called and their old radio guy died and the shop no longer fixes them. You know what? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of places you can buy some capacitors online. Anybody has a source? I mean, we can buy capacitors from eBay. That's for sure. Let's face it, capacitors are probably all made in China, but we also all know that, electronic parts are not all the same quality. Maybe a question that would be nice here, if you're in the US or if you're in Europe, if anybody can help, what would be the place where you would order and think big picture, not your local place or local shop? Because here I've got a place that's like 25 minutes walk from here, and I got all the capacitors I could dream of. But think about somebody that is in a place where there's no shops, no nothing. Where would you send them for parts or electronic parts on the web or anywhere to purchase that that are probably good quality? I think that's a very good question here. Tim Ginner says the German text dialed up the wrong frequency, I think, for my TKBC. It's like, what it looked like, Tim? It looked like it was on 9900, and somebody said, oh, God, we're on the wrong frequency. And he was running and running and running and punching the right frequency in the transceiver. Andrea the Exer says, here's a list to help you with the HDTV E-skip. There are still stations on the VHF band. Okay, thanks. I'm going to check that out. I'm curious. Because when I found my antenna, the thing I thought is, I want to plug it on this TV and try to not only see what I can get with HDTV skip, but even analog is anything coming in, because I know their low power analog are still allowed in certain places. And I know here in Canada, it's been extended for a few years too. Joe Tyson, nice to have you on board from Apex, North Carolina. Well, you'll see my review, Chrissy, and I'm happy. I like it. I like when people like you are posting videos and you're so happy with your radios. It's like it just is so cool, so cool. Moonfest Madness, nice to have you on board. Hey, Tom DXer. Yeah, well, you know what? I tried 3 nights in a row, and what's crazy is that the last 3 nights, the sky was clear for most part, but the northwest had clouds, pretty much where the comet should be. So I've not been able to actually spot it, but it's up. It's getting um, higher every night. So I got my binoculars. I want to use my phone to. A lot of people actually posted on spaceweather.com. A lot of people posted pictures taken just with their phones, but with a longer exposure. And I mean, this is the S20. The camera is darn amazing. I think I'm going to be able to check out and get the pictures. And see the comet. I mean, it's crazy. So it still works, Keegan. Yeah, mine might be one of those. You know, the S450 Keegan DLX has been a hit or miss, and a lot of. I think there was a lot of you know quality control issues with the radio. Keegan has a Zenith Transoceanic RS7002 radio from 1981. Cool. It's always fun to have these old radios, honestly. Always fun. What else do we have? What else do we have? We're getting closer, closer, closer. I used to have a 6-inch a 6-inch Newton and watched the skies a long time ago. Frank Ireland, would you love to see a review comparing SH Data D808 with the Ethon? Would love to have with the Ethon lead executive on medium wave and shortwave if you had some with the Ethon. All of that is gonna be there. Absolutely. Mandria DXer. Greece continued on shortwave during the economic crash, but it was their employees running the station without approval from the station government. Cool. At least they're still in the air. Gordon Lyles saw the comet a couple of nights ago with his big telescope. Pretty cool. Cool. Tim says they discontinued 9935 due to the age of the transmitter. You know, that's one thing we don't talk about a lot. But remember that a lot of shortwave broadcasts have not left because they wanted to leave. They left because the transmitters were getting so old and they didn't have the money to replace them. Because there's a lot of broadcasters that would still be there. You know, we could see Africa. Wait, you know what? I'm going to continue on this. I have to pee. Okay, guys? I'm sorry, but I have to pee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go pee, and we're going to continue on this old transmitter thing in Africa. And I have a little something to say about why a lot of stations left shortwave. And while we do that, we're going to leave you guys with some hams on 40 meters to make sure that there's no copyright infringement. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. That was nothing but trouble. But I don't know. I guess
Circle J. And at some point, people are going to get tired of it, but the crime is going to come so high, they're just going to vote all these people out. Everything goes full circle, but I have to tell you one thing. I wouldn't want to live in New York while it's coming around. Go ahead. Yeah, well, I'm happy I'm not in New York City. Although, I don't know if you're aware, or not, our governor, he approved a system that was put into effect in California called no cash bail. Are you familiar with that? Yeah, I sure am. I think it's a really great idea. You know, just go arrest the criminal, let them out so they can commit a crime on the same day. Sounds like a good plan to me, Jay. Yeah, I told my wife I think I already get into that business. There was a guy they caught. He robbed 3 or 4 banks. They caught him. They let him out 5 minutes later, and the next day he robbed 2 more. And they caught him, and they let him out again. Yeah, I think the real sad one, and I think it was a month or 2 ago, was the guy that they arrested for something pretty serious. They let him out, and the next day he killed somebody. Yeah, well, that went into effect, I guess, at the beginning of the year. I got a call from a retired New York City policeman. He's a friend of mine who's upstate New York, and he told me, "Did you hear they're going to come out with this no cash bail?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, it's going to be effective in about 2 months at the beginning of the year," and he explained what.
Okay, that's a useless conversation of a ham radio operator on 40 meters. So, hello. Mr. Paul the cat is in the neighbor's yard with next to the other cat. So I was like, okay, hello. So, anyways, like I was saying, I think a lot of the shortwave broadcasters from Africa and even from South America, you know, when they left shortwave and the transmitter broke down, and they just didn't have the money to have them fixed. I would bet that there's a lot of those transmitters. They're still there broken, but they just have no parts or no money to do anything about it. And that for a lot of broadcasters, I think, was the dead zone. They got to the point where the transmitter was just too old. And remember that in the Cold War era, a lot of those transmitters were given by Russia or other countries to do propaganda. And they kept those and they used it, and they continue using it until they died, basically. And there was just no parts to replace. Shitty Power 90's got an EQSL from Greece. Oh, nice. OX4D says, if I need specific part, I order on Mauser. Charles Emerson, nice to have you here from Canada. Horizontal Crafter's Kitchen sells capacitors online. Cool. RS Mauser or local radio guy. Okay. Interesting. Mauser Electronics. I never heard of Mauser. It's kind of interesting. Mauser or Mauser? Mauser Electronics. Huh. I've never been there. Look at that. Wide selection of components. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. We're here to serve you locally, too, even in Canada. So that is nice. Wow, I didn't know about this place at all. So thanks for sharing, guys. That's the fun part of this. That's the fun part of all of this. The knowledge of everybody. Yeah, the ghosts was that it was that artistic thing from Harp last year with that was done by Amanda Dawn Christie. That was so cool, though. Nick says you can get good caps still from Panasonic and Nichicon that are not cheap, crappy ones. I get them from DigiKey. Okay, interesting. James Farley, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Hardest Alley Crafter's Kitchen, late father owner of my Alley Crafters radios, was on his high school, varsity football, and swim teams, and shaved his leg as a competitive advantage in tribute to him for Funeral Monday. I shaved mine. That's nice. Rob, and by the way, great shirt. Hey, it's YouTube. Oh yeah, Greece used. Greece used very weird frequencies at one point. RJ Dakota. So in the 80s, Greece was on odd frequencies, and I had neighbors that were Greek, and they couldn't believe that I could hear stations from other. Not everybody knows shortwave, and they couldn't believe I could get Greece on a little portable shortwave radio. And one night I went to their place because my friend's dad, which was Greek, wanted to know. And I brought my Realistic DX100 and I tuned. And then they heard the idea, Epiphanidis, whatever they said in Greek, voice of Greece. And he said, wow, that's Greece. And then there was some Greek music and everything. He didn't know anything about shortwave. It was crazy. And they had weird frequencies at the time, honestly. Really weird frequencies. You know what's funny is the Source store here at the shopping mall, which was a Radio Shack, still has one little part of the store with the old transistors and resistors and capacitors and Archer stuff like in the good old days, which is probably the leftover junk that they had that they don't know what to do with and they probably can sell. But what surprises me is why didn't they just remove that and do something else? It's still there. I should take a picture and post it in the Facebook group. You guys are going to be like, wow, they still have that? Yeah, they still. Cool, Moonfest Madness. Yeah, it's really low, but it's under the Big Dipper, absolutely. The funniest thing is I live, so when I was young, I had Radio Shack, and and it still exists. We got a store called Addison here, which is a surplus electronics. And I always laughed my head off because one of my friends would buy electronic parts at Radio Shack. So he would buy like 5 capacitors for $3. And I would say, well, I got the same 5 capacitors for 48 cents. And he was like, well, they're not the same quality. I said, well, they do the darn job. And it was at Addison Electronics. And I remember I was always going to, like Radio Shack, and I would look at the prices of the resistors, for example. I remember Radio Shack having 10 1K resistors for like $4.95. And at Addison that I would go to, they would have a pack of 10 resistors for like 99 cents. And I was like, What gives? Why is it so expensive at Radio Shack? And so that's where I understood that the markup at Radio Shack was really high on a lot of stuff. Christy Fredis says, I'm pleased as peaches with it. Listened to Radio Romania earlier and BBC via the local NPR station earlier. Just love how performance is on it and features really nice. My only knock on the radio is the sync detection is not that great, but it really isn't necessarily with detectable bandwidths. Okay, kind of interesting. The last night I ended up listening to the BBC via the local VPR. Radioactive, what HD is sitting behind a computer speaker behind me? It's not an HD. Actually, I checked there's batteries in here. Yes, there is. Still works? It still does. It's a Radio Shack frequency counter. So this is a 1 megahertz to 1.3 gigahertz frequency counter from Radio Shack that I purchased a long time ago. Still works. Still works. All metal. It's super heavy. It's all metal. And I even have the little part that goes here with the little clips to put on the circuit board to measure frequency. So it's speed. Kind of cool. Still works. So this is a frequency counter that I purchased. I mainly used it to verify how the CBs that I had and everything was, how close they were in frequency range to their actual frequencies. Pretty much. So what else do we have? Don't cross the streams. Oh man. Yeah, it's time to everybody. It was time for everybody to go pee. What else do we have? Keegan says, would be funny if Gela tuned to WWV before it took a break. Oh man. Manrio DXer did a live stream receiving e-skip on the FM band the other day. Later got a copyright strike. Difficult challenge on YouTube. That is the problem with, FM. What do you have on FM? Music almost all the time. So it's something that it's difficult to really do because there's a copyright strike. Last show from Friday a week and a half ago, I got a copyright strike because I did not notice, but at the end of the show, there's too long of a song, and I got a copyright strike saying, well, that is a no-no. I was like, I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah, Moonfest, it is sad. Propaganda transmitters. Yeah, a lot of them were that, pretty much, Moonfest says we need new lower power stations. The problem isn't the station itself. It's the getting approval and license, which is much more complicated than getting an actual transmitter on the air with a program. It's crazy. What else do we have? RJDA Dakota had Greece in English at 0300. They do have a an English ID and stuff, like very short little things. William Moser, you think scanners are better for airband? What radio are you talking about that are good? You know what? Even the cheapest scanner radio is better at airband than anything that has airband with shortwave, except those higher end receivers. Oh, absolutely, Nick. Getting my ham license. I've got the transceiver here. I've got the Yaesu FT450 right here, and so I'm ready. But it's a mix of time and my schedule is a complex thing. Even like going to see my friends is a complex thing. So I need to take the time to do it. Absolutely. I know when I'm going to get my ham license, I'm going to be really happy. I'm going to do tons of contacts because I'm going to be like, wow, this is so cool. But I'll eventually get it. The X160. Yeah, nice one. 3 a.m. in the UK, need coffee. You're not going to sleep if you do that. Hillbilly Musings. Radio Shack called that the force feed sections. Matias Ramos. ¿Cómo está mi amigo desde Chile? Nice to have you here from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Colonel Lyle says, I have a Radio Shack store about 53 miles from me. Still looks the same. Wow, I miss that. Man. Here, there's no more Radio Shacks in Canada. Moonfest Manus says, had an old Zitage frequency counter, was rubbish. Good night, VT Radio. It's nice to have you on board from Vermont. Hope you enjoy that and continue using that KA1103. I got to take it easy, Charles. Radio Shack, I don't know. It's difficult. It's a very difficult world in retail. But I think Radio Shack made one big mistake. It decided it wanted to go to the mainstream electronics. And that's not the good place to be. Because stores are selling TVs at dirt cheap prices, not making money on them or not very little in all the other stuff. Radio Shack should have had a vision of, we've got all of these radio guys, all of these electronic guys that are the core. I mean, Radio Shack, what was the core of a Radio Shack store? It wasn't the average population. You and me went to Radio Shack. You and me. Are we the average population? No, we're not. I went there because electronics. I went there because of all the gadgets. I went there because of the radios. It was the cool place for us to be. They should have stayed in that place. They could have modernized it with newer technologies and stuff. But I think Radio Shack made the big mistake of trying to be the mainstream electronics, TVs, stereos, and whatever. And that was not the place that they should have been. They should have been in the geeks that follow us. We're going to be in that place with all the geeks and all the parts and all the radios and all the cool stuff. That's what we're going to be. Nothing more. Maybe they would still be alive today if they had not fallen for the let's go to sell TVs and VCRs and stuff. Of course they could have had a few TVs, a few things, but they really wanted to be mainstream and sell cell phones and whatever. No, that's not what we wanted off of Radio Shack. And I don't think anybody wanted that of Radio Shack, honestly. I'm surprised that the source in Canada still is actually operating. Because every time I go there, there's nobody. There's nobody. I go there to see what they have and try to kind of get into the grasp or the feel of what Radio Shack is from the past. But you go there, there is no one. And make it worse. At least in the 80s, when you would ask a question, they knew what they were talking about. Today, if you talk about something, they have no effing idea of what the hell you're asking a question about. I'd be curious. Maybe, that would be a nice video to make. I just put my phone in my shirt pocket. And I was like, yes, I'm watching over-the-air TV on my HDTV. What do you recommend as an antenna? I'd be curious to see what the guy's going to answer. Well, we got this $49.99 basic Bell cable that you can actually go to. It's you could have the fiber optic stuff and internet. Yeah, and that'd be a good one. That would be a good one. That'd be a good channel, actually. Do they know what they're talking about? You go to a store and you ask a question, a really good question about whatever product they're selling, and look at the answer and just film all of it. Oh, man. There's a catch, guys. If you want to do a good channel. You go to the store, it's like, yeah, I've got this 65-inch TV, and I was looking at a outdoor antenna. Can you recommend something? I imagine going to the source today and it's like, can you recommend an outdoor antenna for my TV? I can see the stare. It's like, antenna for a TV? I had somebody once tell me, and that was the funniest part, on a VHF channel, I mentioned something about TVs, and the guy said, well, duh, today's TVs don't actually receive over-the-air TV. And I was like, duh. Yes, they do. You're just an idiot that doesn't know it. Well, no, you're ignorant. You're not idiot. But the way you did it, he was an idiot anyways. It's like, yeah, you can get over-the-air TV, actually. And by the way, over-the-air TV looks better than cable TV because it's not compressed. Ah, man. It was, I don't know. Well, I was, I wanted just to take a week off. I had a little, I had some action a week before. Manrio DXer did a compare of the XHG D808 and his Jupiteru scanner, and the D808 I thought was better for airband. Oh, but okay, let's rewind a little bit. Okay, Jupiteru is a wideband. And I'll be fair here in what I think of wideband receivers, okay? Wideband receivers have never impressed me as overall performance. I have the ICOM SCR20. Now I've got the ICOM SCR30. Honestly, when a radio wants to be too wide, and I'll add one thing here. When a radio wants to be a very wideband receiver below $1,000, it never is really good. The ICOM SCR30, I know, and I don't want to hurt anybody when I say my comments. You have your own experience, and if you love that, it's all that is important, okay? But I mean, we have, and I said in the past, we have to stop thinking that a radio is great because we paid. Here the ICOM ICR 30 comes up to 1,000 Canadian dollars. If I had paid $1,000 for the ICOM ICR 30, I would have sent a letter of your product is the worst thing ever to ICOM, because the ICOM ICR 30, I am sorry, is the worst crap portable wideband receiver I've ever seen. In the performance, it's bad. Somebody told me on the VHF UHF channel, you just don't understand what a wideband is. I do. My ICOM IC8500 is a wideband receiver, but it costs $2,000. It's a darn good receiver everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? Okay, I'm ranting now. Everywhere. But it's 2,000 effing bucks. The ICOM ICR 30 for $1,000 is the crappiest thing I've ever seen. It's cool when it's a cool looking radio. It has nice modes in it and everything. It's the crappiest performer in a wideband darn radio. I'm sorry. I will not change my mind on it. I've used it so many times. There's a reason why Kevin Jane Apollo sent me that radio. He thinks the same thing. And you know what? There's a few guys on the internet that reviewed it and they said, I saw your review and I'm totally agree with you. It's the crappiest thing ever. Never buy an ICOM ICR 30. Don't give that money to ICOM and try to tell them that radio is good. It's no good. It's no good. It's a crappy receiver. I'm going to take beer. I'm sorry. If I spend $1,000, and I'm sure every one of you spend $1,000 on a radio, there's a minimum you want to be happy. When the R30 came out, part of me was like, it's expensive. Maybe I should, buy it. And I'm so happy to never have given I gave money because I had to pay for the import charges, which is pretty fine, pretty okay. But I mean, if I had, I'm sure that anyone, like Kevin, that paid hard cash for that thing, came out and it's like, wow, I paid that amount of money for that thing, and I'm not happy with it. That's it, man. So I will say it and repeat it because it is that. The ICOM ICR 30 wideband receiver is the crappiest ICOM radio that I've ever seen. And that's it. So you know what? Screw you, ICOM, when 2 years ago you wanted to do some deal with me so I could be a liar and say your radios are good. Okay. My tension is gone now. Zen. Be happy. And continue. Maybe that's why I don't have any sponsors. Nobody wants me to talk about the radios. And I don't care because I want to tell everybody what you should buy or not buy. And that's it. And that is the purpose of this channel. And this channel is here to tell you what's crap, what's not. And Rongda in China, what the hell is that thing that you sold me as a wideband receiver? Yeah, F you. Man, feels so good. I wish I had another beer. So what else we're talking about? Keegan had other stations received BBC World Service on 81.9 KMUW, Wichita, Kansas, 91.9 KSMU, Springville, Missouri, and Houston, Texas. Wow, that's nice. Victor Osorio, will you be on HF? Of course, I'll be on HF if I'm I'll be only on HF. The only part of amateur radio that is interesting to me is HF or satellites. I'll be on VHF, UHF for satellites, or 6 meters for the E-skip stuff. Things like that. I don't want to talk about my prostate and my whatever old age on 2 meters for 2 hours at a time on some repeater. What the hell is that? But at the same time, that is that also. We got to accept that there's different kinds of radio and of ways doing the radio also. I'm the radio guy. I'm not the yeah. Well, last night, I was outside and there was some rain and blah 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 blah. Yeah, right. Oh God, Nick. Well, good luck to you. It would be great to hear you. I know a lot of you. I mean, there's David in Barcelona, Spain. That's like, I want to do a contact with you on a single sideband. Shady Pyro 90 looks like our amigo Pedro turned off 11760 as I was right in the middle of listening. Oh, really? There's always something wrong on the radio. I should imitate Glenn Hauser. There's always something wrong on Radio Havana, Cuba. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you here from Greenfield Park, Quebec. Always nice to have you on board. We have Tim Gaynor of the Unique Radio in Australia. And thank you, Tim, for broadcasting the International Radio Report. It was, it's really cool. Nick, Yisu FT450D, good radio. You will be making all kinds of contact with that. I know I will. You know what? Shady Pyro 90 on 11800 at something like at 2100 UT. And it's still there. I still hear it. There is 11800. There's been a carrier since about 21 UT today. And I heard it about 3 or 4 days ago, and even last week. There's something on 11800 that's not there. It's a carrier with nothing else. And I suspect it must be Radio Havana, Cuba with some kind of problem. But you know what? Oh, really, RJ Dakota? Coffee doesn't keep you awake? If I drink coffee past about 8 p.m., I'm not gonna actually sleep, honestly. Chrissy Freitas says the actual radio I saw sold in Radio Shack was a Grundig G3. I'm surprised one opened up in Cape Coral, Florida. Yeah, Tandy. Sold out Dick Smith Electronics in Australia and New Zealand and probably went out of components and parts and went into PC, laptops, and phones. Wow. Jim F. Radio Shack got too caught up focusing on cell phones. Yeah. They missed the boat. Radio Shack missed the boat because they tried to be the mainstream stuff when the actual reason why Radio Shack was Radio Shack was the geeks, the tinkerers, the electronics guys, and the regular folks that needed that little part for that thing and didn't know what it was. It's like, yeah, I need that little long thing that is this wide that goes behind my TV. And, they would go to Radio Shack and say, behind my TV, I got, I have a new game, a gaming system. And there's this box that has a switch TV antenna on it and blah, blah, blah. Oh, you need that little 300 ohms with, the switch for TV and computer or whatever, That was Radio Shack. That was Radio Shack. Yep. Radio Havana, Cuba still sends out QSL cards, Jason Francis, by mail. You got a physical QSL card, but it takes a really long time. You'll have from 6 months to almost a year before you get it. but you will have one. Hey, Kevin Wood in Nova Scotia. Nice to have you here. Tim Gainer's got J-Car Electronics, which is similar. Oh, cool. I'm kind of lucky because we got here. I live next to a big electronics surplus store called Addison, which was my favorite place for electronics, honestly. And even though they have modernized and are a little more into the mainstream, they still have somewhat that feel of the what Radio Shack was like, basically. Chrissy Freitas, I do have some fond memories of Radio Shack. There is a listening to Shortwave book I remember picking up. Yeah, they had a few books, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when they sold here in Canada, or in Montreal at least, they sold the Passport to World Band Radio at some point. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, Sheldon. The old Radio Shack slogan: "You got questions, you have questions, we got answers." Oh man, today is you got questions, we have no effing idea what you're talking about. Oh man. So oh, I know that would make some really good videos. Asking the guy to come to that section with capacitors and saying, "Does that capacitor have a 10% distortion rate or something?" It's like, does it have that? So I'm building this this circuit right now, and I need to have really good quality capacitors. Do these capacitors have the the required? Oh man, I don't even know if anybody at Radio Shack, or not Radio Shack, but at the source here, even knows what a capacitor is all about. Ah man, that would make some really good videos. Oh God. It's a tough business right now. Even just look at the survival of all the AM radio stores and the radio stores in general. It's tough, and just look at us. Where do we buy our radios? We buy them online, and a lot of us buy them on eBay or on from Chinese sellers. Um, And when if I want to have a really like a higher end radio here in Canada, I'll go to maybe Radio World in Toronto. But I'm still amazed. I gotta say, I'm still surprised that Montreal doesn't have at least one outlet for radio. That is still surprising. I mean, it is a pretty big city here. RJ Dakota says, too many people I know believe that there's no such thing as over-the-air TV. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? My own brother asked me once, and said, well, there's no more over-the-air TV. And I said, yeah. The local TV stations still broadcast over the air. If you put an antenna to your 60-inch HD TV, you're gonna get tons of local stations. Yeah, Matt, I know I'm ranting at the R30 again. Sorry. Sheldon says, if I was going to purchase a quality wideband portable today, I would probably go for a model from AOR. But I still think that if you're a shortwave listener and a VHF UHF fan, I still think you need two radios, because I still think that the best, unless you spend really a lot of money, okay. the 8600, ICOM 8600, for example. And I'll rant at the 8600. You know why? Because ICOM missed the spot in a few spots there. It could have done more, and it could have had more modes that it could decode, especially for the price that they're selling it. I know that there's a price point. These companies are trying to sell us a radio at a price point where it's going to reach us. I mean, if you're going to spend $2,000 or $3,000 for a radio, I mean, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. The last time I spent that much money for a radio was my ICOM ICR 8500. And I spent, with taxes and everything, $2,000. It's a lot of money for a radio. And it was the most expensive radio purchase I've ever done. I mean, even the Kenwood R5000 cost me, $900, $800 used from somebody that didn't really use it anyway. So it was like brand new. Would I spend $2,000 on a radio today? Nope. Do I think a radio is worth $2,000 today? No. That's my opinion. Because I know you guys, I mean, if I had really a lot of cash lying around, I would go and get the 8600, ICOM 8600. I'd be curious to have one. I mean, I've seen it. Eric Cottrell brought it every 2 summers in a row at the CIDX barbecue. It's a beautiful radio. And I think he's really happy with it. Although he does have his own rant at what's missing. But I can't see myself spending $3,000 on the radio today. I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't. Fastload once told me, it says, well, look at all the transceivers that are $1,000 transceivers. I'm sorry, but if tomorrow morning a Chinese company comes up with a little something like this that performs super well, and that gives, like, I don't know, 100-watt output as a transceiver, I can tell you the ICOM is going to die from the Chinese competition. It's just that there's no SDRs that have been done yet that can do that. And that's understandable because when you start talking about transmissions in 100, 200 watts, a lot of power, you can't do it in a small form factor. It doesn't work like that. But he was kind of telling me, well, people want to have radios. No. Look at the receiving end. Yes, a lot of people like radios, but look at how many people got hooked up to this. If you get a transceiver that does 100 watts, which means you can add, an amplifier to have a kilowatt if you want, but that has this on your screen, you're not buying a radio anymore. You're staying on a transceiver SDR, and that's going to be the new market for whatever happens. It's just waiting to happen. Someday somebody's going to do it. We're not there yet because transmitting is a lot of power. You can't have it in a small form. You can't have that in a small box. It makes too much heat and stuff. But you know what? Somebody's going to design something someday. It's going to have a screen like this. It's going to say, okay, here's your 250-watt transceiver. And you have the screen. You have a little box. You hook up your antenna. You're a ham radio operator with 200 watts. This is going to be a winner. And ICOM and all these companies are going to die out because if they can't adapt to that, that's what's going to happen. If the receiver market, this has taken such a big place in the receiver market, the only thing that separates the receiver market from the transceiver market is that power for the transmitting. Nothing more. Man. Nicholas. Nick says Icon does make some good radios. They do. Like you say, the IC 7300 is that winner radio for Icom. It's fantastic. And it's not just fantastic, it's fantastic because price versus performance is fantastic. And that's where we see it. That is fantastic. The Icom IC 7300. So many times I've seen it. You know what? If I have my ham ticket and I want to buy my radio, I'm getting an IC 7300 because I've seen so many good things about it. That's the fantastic stuff. But you know what? It's at also a decent price point for what it does, and that is good. But for the money you spend, you need to have value. The 7300 is value for your money. The Icom ICR30 is you wasted your money on a crappy radio. That's the thing. You know? Hunter Carver says, I don't like about talking about my prostate. My prostate is also. Oh, man. Bill, ICR30 at price. What do you recommend? Wow. I mean, that radio is $1,000. You should buy different radios. You should buy if you like digital modes and want to try really VHF, UHF stuff. I would like buy a Whistler TRX. The Whistler TRX 1 or 2 are amazing. They do a lot of modes and is an amazing receiver for VHF, UHF. And buy yourself a good portable or a good little shortwave radio for the rest. You know, you would have for the price point of the Icom SCR30, which here is like $1,000. I would have a C-Crane CC Skywave SSB, which is amazing portable, or an XH Data D808, which is an amazing portable for shortwave. And I would get a TRX1 from Whistler, which is an amazing VHF UHF receiver with digital modes that it decodes and everything, P25 and all of that. It would be a better investment overall than it would be with the Icom SCR30. Plus, the Icom SCR30 doesn't have DMR, the most popular digital mode that exists is missing off of a really expensive, crappy R30. Way to go, Icom. Maybe I'll never have sponsors anymore. Oh, God. What else do we have? Rufus, Jill, at work, I got those questions on hookups. Well, after we could provide customers with a solution, did not make me happy. I'm glad I'm gone. Man, I've been a tech guy to understand that I was not fit to be a tech guy. It's just too complicated to answer questions of people at some point. Jeff Barrett says he's got a Kenwood TH F6A 144, 2 meters. So 144, 220, 440 transceiver, medium wave FM, shortwave HF SSB receiver. It's not a bad little radio. It only cost me $220. The receiver works great with the MLA30. But the Icom SCR30, if I'd be in a no zone where there's no signals of anything, maybe it isn't that bad, and maybe that's why I see some people happy with it. unfortunately, and I'll say this, and I don't want to be, I don't want to generalize, but I see it a lot because somebody spent $1,000 on the radio. You can't say bad things about it, and I get it. I mean, if you got a radio, or you bought a radio for $1,000 and it's not the best performer, I get that you might not want to talk negative about it or whatever. Um, the reason I want to make sure that when I say these things is that I want to make sure that people don't buy the crap stuff or don't spend too much money on something that isn't worth it. And I mean, I look at all the features of the ICOM SCR30. It's packed with features. There's so much features in there. And I've been enjoying listening to some D-Star nets and stuff. But man, that thing could have been so much better than that. It's like they tried to put too much different features for a price that's too low for the amount of stuff that you just jammed in there. And it gets to a crappy radio, you know? It's. Charles Emerson, I have the Texan R909, R9012. There's the larger, more expensive receivers such as the Texan P660. Yeah. Well, what you'll get with the Texan PL660 is single sideband, and yeah, they have the digital display and all of that, which makes them better. So yes, there is a when you talk about an analog like the R9012 and move to the PL660, 680, yeah, there's a difference there, and it is worth it. It is worth it, and you will get more using the same antenna. Yes, but there's a limit, But that, yes, you will see a difference. William Helm still has an antenna guide on how to build speaker bugs. I still have here the battery. What was it? They had a book which was called the battery guide or something, and they would explain how the batteries work. Nick, ICOM IC 9500, 12,500 US dollars. Yep. Yep. 12,500. It's a nice looking radio, though, I gotta say. But and that's okay, Tim Ginner. We all have our opinion, and that's cool. And that's cool. We all have our opinions. I have mine, but they're not. I mean, I give my opinions, but I see some of the comments sometimes of the R30. Every time I post a video of the R30, is like I get tons of like, oh yeah, of all the people that own one, and it's like, yeah, but I'm not sold on it. I'm sorry. It's for me, it doesn't make it. It overloads too much. But look at the K180 WLA antenna. What I understand is that antenna, if you live in a rural area far from FM broadcasters, actually it probably works fine. But my area here is a very, very difficult one, especially with the strong FM signals. And whatever doesn't pass the test doesn't pass it here. I should actually, this should be a laboratory for new radios. You know why? Because this is the perfect environment to test if a radio can pass the overload test with all the FM breakthrough and everything. RJDA Dakota says the XH data D808 is just fine for what I use. Don't need to spend thousands. I think we are in an era, in the 80s, there was a difference between the regular portables and the cheaper tabletops and the higher end. So, for example, when I got my Kenwood R5000, it was definitely better than anything I've ever owned. I had moved from a Radio Shack DX302 to a Kenwood R5000. Man, there was a difference. There was a huge difference. But I think in 2020, that is not the way it works anymore. I don't think there's enough difference from an XH D808. Okay, I'm gonna get people are gonna kill me now. And an higher end radio, except the fact that you want to have that type of radio. I think we are now in a moment where, you know what? If you've got an ICOM ICR 8600, it's because you had the money to buy it and you're happy to have that. And that's cool. That's totally cool. And I think we got to be in that range now because I'm finding it harder and harder to see a difference between a couple of hundred portable and a 3,000 receiver. I look at, I mean, I got a $2,000 ICOM here. I'm running a $200 RSPDX here. And I'm happy with this here. And I haven't turned on my ICOM in ages. This is just explaining how everything is screwed up today about our way of thinking, what is good, what is bad, what is. One of the things I want to say mostly is whatever you have and you're using, whatever price you paid for, it's cool. You're happy with your radio, you're happy with playing with that. That's the important thing, honestly. I mean, it's crazy today. But you know what, MDK2, I like the R20 for what it was. It's not the best. It's not the best radio around, but the R20 um, was a decent performer in what it was at the time. Let's face it, the R30 is better at shortwave. Okay, that no doubt. If you have an R30, shortwave is 100 times better on the R30, especially because they have the narrow filters now. But the R30 is I don't know. It's a no. I mean, don't spend your money on that. VE5UO says, I have a 7300. It's by far the best price performance radio I've owned. And that's the thing. So that might be a worth-it radio for the price, or transceiver for the price. You know? Nick is listening to Shannon Vomit on 5505. Not Shannon Vomit, Shannon Volmet. Yeah, the Xiegu G90 seems to be an interesting one, Joe Tyson. Absolutely. Hector Plasmic. I can't answer your question on the Uniden 885 CB plus Police Fire Ambulance DOT scanner. I have no idea. Maybe somebody knows about it. Maybe somebody can help you out, but I have no. $1,200 price range. Well, that 7,300 is interesting on that. Nick says, if you buy a radio, you don't like it, spend 1K on it. It's time to sell it, put it on eBay, something. Yeah. But you know what? Because it's interesting. I'm not the only one getting, because I got poo pooed and I got bashed on the ICOM SCR30. And 9 EWO and a couple of others that watch my stuff and also do reviews came back to me and said, I agree with what you think of it, because it's true that it's not that. And I think the people that poo poo or that come back to you and are mad are the ones that purchased it and are trying, because that I think is a big problem. Is you purchased an expensive radio and you're trying to convince yourself that it's a good one. Yeah. Well, if I paid $1,000 for that R30, I think I would have a live call with ICOM saying, "What do you do a crappy radio with that? Can you answer the question, please?" Archer's out of Crafter's Kitchen. I get so many, "Oh man, I wanted one of those forever" comments about my Greenwich Satellite 800. I like it. I don't live it. And then people get mad when I say that when they have never used one. Yeah, people often get mad just because I don't know, you talk bad about something that they think is good or whatever. I don't know. Jason Francis says, that makes me happy. So I just got my XHD D808 in the mail. It's a great radio. It's interesting because I noticed a lot of people going crazy with the chuffing or the muting of tuning, and I get it. I mean, if you're because what I understand with that is that a lot of people are using the portables, like they use a tabletop to tune around the frequencies. And what maybe is the difference with the way I use the radio and makes me like, I don't know, there's no problem, is I do not tune much with the XH data or any of the radios I have that do this muting. I punch in the frequencies I want to listen to. So it's not much of a problem when you do that. Also, if you tune single sideband, it's less. The muting is not as bad as if you would tune the AM mode on shortwave. But I still get it. I mean, radio should not be muting when you're tuning. I get it. Personally, it doesn't make me mad. Some people, it's a problem. And I get it. I think it's the fact that that DSP chip does a lot of that, unfortunately. Charles Emerson, Texan PL660 or XH data. I will resume it in one thing very simple. Well, two things. PL660, no muting when you tune around with the tuning dial or the tuning button, and airband. And XH data, not airband, sync detection. Sorry, sync detection. There's a synchronous detection. The XH data does not have synchronous detection. XH data is, in my opinion, better, but muting when you tune and no sync detection. If you remove these two little options, for the rest, not much of a difference. Oh, man. What else do we have? Oh, really? Poirot went off, Gordon Lyle? Wow. Okay. RJDA Dakota says it may not be important, but the FM stereo over headphones makes the D808 a very good listening experience. I need to try that. I haven't tried it. I never tried it then. Gordon loves his ICOM 8600, Drake R8, Starlight 800, and RSPDX with SDR Uno 1.4. If you like your radios, then no problem. No, I think that's the important thing. You know, you like the radio, that's it, and that's really it. Mad Radio DXer. My most downvoted videos was when I compared the RTL SDR and Shortwave, compared to soft rock SDR, the latter being more expensive in advance, of course. I got bashed for using an inferior up converter. Oh man. You know, YouTube is perfect for that. The bashing of you're an idiot. Yeah, you're an idiot. Who's the idiot? The one that's doing videos or the one that never did a video in his life and saying, hey, the other one's idiot? I get that all the time. It's, you know, I'm kind of immune now. It's like, yeah, idiots. And the DXer says, regardless, I think the RTL SDR is an easy entry level SDR for shortwave and is still weak compared for a Kiwi SDR. You know, we have all of that, and all of that happens all the time. Mike Tartan can agree about the ICOM S7300 for sure. Keegan says, my dad, W9JEF, and I agree about the ICOM IC7300. It is probably the best transceiver price point of all the ICOM radios. And that's cool, you know? That's cool. RJDA Dakota, usually punch in the station of choice. I usually don't mind the mute on tuning. Just seems to be a sign of time, so to speak. Yeah. I think, you know, we gotta understand one thing is that moving forward, the DSP chips are going to be used more and more because they're really cheap, and the muting on portable radios are going to be just even new radios are going to have that for sure. The so I don't want to be negative here, but I think that, you know, any new radios that everybody's waiting for 2021, I think a lot of them are not going to happen. The new Texan are still not in production, from what I know. Even the new Ethon Elite thing they're supposed to be there, but I still, you know, they're still not. Hunter's Autocraft's Kitchen. As soon as I get bashed on YouTube, I always check that person's profile. Almost always nobody. No, everybody that gives you a bad, you know, a thumbs down or a bad rap never did videos. They just are there and is like, you know, what I find super funny is, well, you know, I posted today my video of VORW, the Voiceover Report of the Week special broadcast this weekend. There was 0 views and there was 1 thumbs down. I was like, wow, somebody just, you know, imagine how you have no life, that your day is to check out somebody else's YouTube videos every time you post to make sure that you put the thumbs down. And you're like, wow, you're wasting your life doing that when it doesn't effing really matter, because it actually does nothing. Not only does it do nothing, but it actually, you know what? YouTube likes controversy at some point. So if you have a balance of dislikes and likes, it actually pumps up your video even more. And every time I see that, I'm like, wow, this is the most interesting part of how some humans in life have no life. You know, he's like a low life in his basement that thinks he's going to change whatever pattern of some world or something in our YouTube channel because he got to always, you know, thumb down something. It's just, What an idiot you are. And you don't even have a life. I mean, come on. Gordon Lyle says 38 years of shortwave listening. Never wanted to get my ham license. Nothing against it, just not my thing. I think it's I know if I when look, when I get it, I know I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and I'm not going to be on FT8. Don't search me on FT8. I hate that mode. I like the DX part of it, but I hate FT8. That's not me. I am a computer guy. I don't want to do FT8. I hate it. I want to talk to somebody. I want to talk to somebody. So, I'll be on the air on single sideband or on very unusual digital modes. I'm going to be the guy that's going to be like doing CQ on Hellschreiber or something. See if somebody's out there and even knows what it is. That's going to be me. FT8, I respect, and it's okay that FT8 exists. There's ham radio operators there. Fine. I find that it's the most boring thing that exists in the world. Having an exchange of call signs, not for me. You know what? I'm going to stay a listener. If ham radio would be resumed to FT8, I'm not getting my ham license. I don't care. I don't want to be there. I want to talk to someone, or I want to do something else with someone. I don't want to do FT8. That's not my thing. Not saying I'll never do it, but I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. You know what? If you know what, if you have to pin me down and you're gonna do FT8 or Morse code, okay, I'm gonna learn my Morse code. I'm gonna be on CW. For me, it's better than FT8, anyways. But that's me, and that's the way I am. I mean, I do 3-hour shows talking. Come on, I want to talk on radio. I don't want to I don't want to just there's gonna be that weird digital signal there, and VA2 or VE2, whatever is gonna be there, and it's like I don't care. It's boring, and honestly, FT8 is boring mode. But that said, it's not that it shouldn't exist. It's really cool, and especially when you look at how the weak signal modes are with that. But I'm not gonna be there. I'm gonna be the guy talking, or weird digital modes, or all sorts of weird things. But I don't want to be an FT8 guy. That is not me. Matt says you'd probably enjoy digital repeats. Maybe that's possible. Matt. Mike Turnton says I have tried to like FT8, but I find it about as exciting as watching grass grow. That's the thing. It's there's something weird about FT8, and I think I can pin down why for a lot of us it's not exciting. So on FT8, and I totally understand, man, because what you say is true. That a lot of FT8 is amazing DX, because FT8 is getting amazing things. And I don't want to. It might sound that I'm trying to bash FT8, and I'm not. It's not what I want to say here. FT8 is fine, and if you like FT8, fantastic. I think what I'm trying to reach as a person is what a couple of you guys are saying right now. How FT8 is not exciting for some of us. When I see FT8 go through, there's something missing. Yeah, okay, so oh wow, Norway. No, I just contacted Norway. But it's not the same as I talked to Norway, I radio teletyped with Norway. There's something missing in FT8. I don't know if it's the fact that there's a big bunch of contacts coming in together. I don't know what it is. I know for DX and for weak signal, FT8 is amazing. And that I'm not removing anything of the importance of what that is. I think it's probably what you are searching for or want to be. You know, a lot of people don't want to talk when they have their ham license. It's intimidating. Um, I was talking with somebody today that told me, you do 2 hour shows talking about something, and it's a gift because there's not everybody can talk for 2 hours. Like not everybody, look at the chat room. Who out of you guys would like to right now, if I sign off, go live and say, hey, I'm going to talk to you guys now? It's my turn. There's not a lot of people that want to do that. There's not a lot of people that want to be the forefront, the camera, the let's do a live show about something, which is okay. And the nature of the human being is most people don't like to talk to people in front of class. How many of you have been intimidated talking in front of a class or a group of people? I'm here talking for 3 hours. And do I look shy? I'm super shy. Look, I'm red. No, I'm not. But FT8 and there's some modes like that. You know what's nice with that is people don't have to. There's no conversation. You just do a contact. And a lot of people, what makes FT8 popular? Not necessarily just the DX. The fact that there's zero conversation. It's, I heard you, you heard me, contact, welcome, bye-bye. That's it. No talking. No, hey, I'm in Canada and you got a great signal and, you're 599 and blah, 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 blah. It's just, I heard you, you hear me. Thanks, bye. And I think that is much more what is pleasing a lot of people, coupled with the fact, yeah, you do great DX on FT8. Maybe I'm the way I'm talking about it. Some of you might say, well, you hate FT8. No, that's not what I'm trying to say here. And I think a lot of people, I think FT8 is popular because a lot of people don't want to talk. And that's it. And you know what, Matt? You do not need a Yagi and a 100-foot tower to talk to Australia or whatever DX target. That I do not agree with you because I've seen too many and I've heard too many ham stations that had basic power from almost everywhere around the world and that could talk. What I mean is simply that I think FTA is popular because first, people don't want to talk. It's a great mode for DX. And it's it's the way of the future, but that's not what I like. Nick says, yeah, Jean, kind of the same way with FT8. I know a lot of people love it, but I just cannot get into it. Other digital modes are great, but SSB CW is a bit still. I think that reflects another aspect also of how different we are all. I told earlier how a software is very different depending on everybody. But I think that is an example of how we are all different also. I think that's the thing. That's the thing. Absolutely, I totally agree with that, Matt. I think that's the cool thing of AM radio. There's every aspect of every mode and everything is there and available. I mean, I love listening to a single sideman, you know, transmission of somebody calling DX from another continent and talking and making contacts, voice contacts with somebody else. You know, Shady Power 90, one of my videos on V13 New Star Broadcasting. There's lots of viewers from Taiwan. Cool. I mean, FT8, is I will check like when 6 meters open. What do? I check FT8 first because everybody's there. So there's a lot of signals in FT8. And then I check for a single sideband and stuff like that. John Bolton says, Jill on SSB and CW whenever you're ready. But that's the thing that Matt is saying also, is there are tons of different facets of ham radio, and everybody does whatever he wants, and that's okay. I have nothing against FT8. I know a lot of people are very negative of the FT8, and I'm like, I'm not negative about it. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I have zero negativity on it. It's not that I'm saying. It's just I'm not going to be an FT8 guy. It's not me, and it's just not me. But FT8 is fine, and people in FT8, cool. I mean, from time to time, I'll tune one frequency and I'll fire up, WSJTX and watch what's going down. I like that, James Farley. Good old RTTY. I like that. I also like PSK31 conversations. Who wants to do a PSK31 conversation? Bob Bartola, nice to have you here. FT8 reminds me of just using a cell phone. I like using AM or SSB. I think everybody's got its own little thing. Matt says ham has lots of niches in it. Digital, satellite, EME, repeaters, DX, different. Yeah, absolutely. There's place for everybody and what everybody likes. Keegan says, been a shortwave listener since my dad, W9JEF, introduced me to shortwave and the ham bands. Cool. Joe Tyson, but I've done FT8 a few times. I'm not saying I'm never going to do FT8, but it's not going to be my number one mode, that's for sure. Tim Gaynor, like everything, I suppose, a hobby is what you make out of it. Enjoyment mostly and hopefully. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're happy in FT8, you're happy, whatever. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Somebody told me once, I'm so passionate about something or my own opinions that sometimes people think um, I'm mad or I'm bashing at something, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just so passionate about what I like that sometimes I might look like some guy that's bashing at something, and I'm not, and I'm just giving my intense opinion. Let's call it like that. I give my intense opinion about it. But I mean, everything's cool. John Bolton, a lot of hams are intimidated. My wife has an extra class license and a horrible case of mic fright. You know, um, and I think it's a lot of people, the majority of people. You know what? Talking to somebody you don't know is always, for a lot of people, um, a problem. You're going to talk to somebody else, not knowing who they are and what they're going to react and what they're going to say. It's an unknown. Talking to your friends is one thing. Calling CQ to somebody you don't know on the other end is another thing. It's a different thing. And for the most, I would say for the majority of hands that start out, calling CQ and talking to somebody is a big effort to do. Nick says, I think for me the reason I don't enjoy FTA is that the contacts are super short. Oh, they are super short, that's for sure. I like conversations. So I would be the guy that likes to talk to somebody and have a minimum of length, where FT8 is just, I heard you, you heard me. Thank you. Bye. Man, really, the extra one good thing of FT8 is there's no trolls. Now that you mention it, you're going to see tomorrow all the trolls on FT8. V5UO says one thing about FT8, it really does appeal to some and does enable stations with modest stations. I totally understand that with very low power you could do a lot, and that's for sure. Tom the Xer, take care. Gordon says I don't have to worry about that. Nobody wants to see or hear me. Oh man. Nick says I'm totally down to have a PSK31 QSO. Oh man. Matt says the issue I meant about DXSSB is that you have to benefit from a power setup or when there's a of course with pileups. But pileups is difficult. That I totally understand. If we talk about trying to get a super station, you're in a pileup, and but it doesn't mean you're not going to get there. But yeah, I get it. I get it. V5UO says, for those that don't like boredom of FT8, there's JS8 call, which allows for chatting over the essentially FT8. Jim and Robert Milligan, nice to have you here. Just put up my new MLA 30 and left for the lake on Friday. I had a pretty bad thunderstorm the weekend. Just got home to have my big Dutch elm tree on my yard antenna up pretty good. Cool. But it's an experience, and I think everybody is. Brother Gilles and WRMI. Matt says, I'm more intimidated about phone etiquette than just talking to some stranger on the air. I received a nice poem in place of a normal QSL from a guy in Tennessee. Just spoke to it in June. I was calling CQ and not getting anyone else, so that made it less nerve wracking. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Gordon says, I have a bad habit of sometimes trying to over explain something. Yeah, and that's a lot of people are like that, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised that there's some trolling at FT8, honestly. There's trolling everywhere. Hey, Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you on board. Well, I'm so sorry, Kimberly, because now I feel bad because I was already thinking before you arrived that, yeah, I'm going to start signing off. I've been on for 3 hours and 14 minutes. I mean, it's almost midnight here. It's 11:14 p.m. But I do love you, Kimberly. Don't forget. Oh, man. But it's kind of nice. And it's fun to, I think that's the cool thing about all of this. Um, the different aspects of the hobby, and being happy in every mode and everything is cool. It's okay. I see the GMR 140, nice to have you here. I see a lot of people really hating FT8. I don't know how many times I've seen people's ham radio operators saying FT8 is the death of amateur radio. It's not. It's a different amateur radio thing. That's it. And I do not hate FT8 at all. At all. I'm not a hater of FT8. I'm just saying it's not my thing. That's all. Yeah, I'm doing great, Kimberly. Hey, my hand still hurts. I have a hard time closing it, but at least I smacked that bastard. Oh man. WWCR should replace Alex Jones with Shell and should be Shell. Okay, guys. I gotta tell you one thing. Those FT8 amateur radio operators, they know nothing about ham. Oh man. Yep, that's exactly it. GMR 140 amateur radio is about experimentation. That's for sure. Alan Giles, nice to have you here from the UK. Nice to have you on board. So no more FT8 because those guys don't know what they're doing. If they all had an MLA 30 to suck the airwaves. But you know, the important thing is that there's something out there for everybody, and whatever it is, you know, single sideband FT8, digital modes of some sorts. You know, I'd be a guy sending a lot of SSTV. So when I got my ham license, there's going to be some 24-hour SSTV fast on 14230. So hey guys, 3 hours and 16 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight, and really was nice to be here. And it was nice to have you on board. So we're going to be back on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 20 hours UTC. And we're going to be, of course, talking about radio once again. So hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I enjoyed being here, and it was nice to see all of you. And take care, please. Okay, stay safe. And tomorrow, I should get an Ethon Elite Executive. So watch for the videos. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Whatever mode you're using, I love you. Okay, as long as you do radio, I love you. If you stop doing radio, I don't want to see you again. But that's another story. Bye, everybody. Stay safe, okay? And love you all. Ouch. My hand hurts. Bye.